Hi, this is Anne Marie, and you are listening to Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Cool Radio.
Well, I
I
can't hear
forgot
a
the last
thing.
word. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I can't hear a thing. And I can't
You can't
see
hear
you either.
anything? Nope, I don't have a screen. We don't have a screen, Bill. So,
Okay, now I could hear you, but I can't see you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that today is almost it's past the 4th of July. We are well on our way towards the beginning of autumn.
Right?
And that is kind of a weird feeling because it just seemed like spring was here and we were just getting over the uh, COVID-19 scare. And now we're heading
Uh,
into that scary part of autumn where hopefully everything is all right and we'll be um, tons better and the world will be happier and when pigs fly, huh?
well, terrific. Why not?
yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah.
always? Well, you never know. Things just might work out. You never know. You never
No.
know.
Have you ever heard of parapsychology?
Yes, I have. Yeah. It's the exploration of psychic phenomena or unexplained phenomena, which they call paranormal, which means it's normal, but they don't have an explanation for it. Um, that's like when they try to record EVPs, electronic.
Oops.
What know what the rest of that would be? Yeah, they have all their devices. They have their photography, their special film, video, and they try to capture they try to capture evidence of there being paranormal activity. Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, and it says that there are 5 broad areas of it:
Yeah.
telepathy, mind to mind communication through a means other than the normal senses, clairvoyance or remote viewing, knowledge of
Uh-huh.
objects, people, or events that are hidden via space or time. For example, an object hidden in a box in a different room, a photograph sealed in an envelope, an event that is occurring to a loved one who is thousands of
Oh.
miles away, or the characteristics of a room that only existed in the past. And that's kind of part of it, that remote viewing that was used with the FBI, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you think they're still doing that?
Oh, they probably have gotten further along than that because I think they've been doing that for a long time. And I would guess that there's been some advancements in how they do it. I know before there had to be a link where somebody sees the same thing that you're seeing. That there had to be a physical link where you're experiencing something that the person is experiencing, whether by sight or sound, and that is then what would allow for the connection somehow. I don't know how that works,
Well, I saw
but it is,
some guy,
yeah.
yeah, I saw some guy on TV that said that he was giving an interview on how it went around about, and he would he would have a picture hidden, and he would say, and he asked their interviewer, he said, "How intuitive are you?" And he said, "Well, I guess I'm average." And he said, "Well, what's behind what is in the picture that I'm looking at? Describe any shapes that are in your mind." And so the guy drew shapes like triangles or diamonds. He was drawing diamonds, I think. And Then the guy said, well, that's very good, because then he presented the man, the interviewer, with what was in the picture. And it was, I don't know, it was a street where there was, how they have the sections where people can drive on to get off a lane, and it's kind of hashtagged, cut off into
Yeah.
diamonds. Well, it was that part of the road, and he
Oh.
says, "See, you didn't know what you were looking at, but you came up with diamonds, which was very much a part of this picture." And he says, when we are trained with the FBI, he said, they do this to us all the time. They they take pictures. That first of all, they take people that they have heard are talented and gifted in this kind of thing, and then they ask them to give them numbers that are on the cards or pictures, symbols, and then eventually it gets more and more complex into where on a map do you see, the enemy or whatever, until it,
Ah.
it gets more and they exercise it until step by step by step by step,
Hmm.
it's encouraging that section of the brain. But I think they look at it almost scientifically, like it's
Yeah.
more of a brain exercise than it is psychic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, uh, it depends on a person's philosophy. I tend to think that the psychicness of people, the things that we call psychic, and I believe that that is natural, that that is a physical thing.
Hmm.
I tend to think that just like you have certain talents, certain people are good at certain things,
Hmm.
and that too is one of those things. But I believe it's a physical ability, really, to do that. It's something that is unique to the brain, to certain people's
Well,
brains.
I
And
imagine
I think a person could, I think everyone could get there to some
to some
point.
degree,
Only certain, yeah, only certain people though could really do it, I think.
just like certain people could
Yeah,
be marathon
yeah,
runners, where
yeah.
other people, no matter how much they train to be a marathon runner,
Right,
would
right,
never be the. So everybody has certain skill sets in um,
right.
avenues
But
of their
I
brain, I
do
think.
think that it is a part of our nature in general. And I do think it is a part of our physical nature. We just don't understand how it works. A lot of our animal sense is ignored and lost basically, and a lot of that gives us the psychic ability too in the animal sense, because dogs and cats, they can always tell when there's someone coming. They have this way of sensing this change in the environment, even if it's a mile or so away. Um, and also the way you would feel when you just meet somebody. A lot of times that is a underlying animal scent you're picking up. There's a human scent that you're picking up subconsciously, not the conscious aroma, but this underlying thing that you are picking up, and you could smell, say, hostility, or nice things that might explain why you like somebody immediately, is because of this sense that you have that's very natural. Um, we make it sound like it's hocus pocus, but it's not. I think a lot of what we think is supernatural really isn't supernatural. It's just something we don't understand yet, but it's normal. It is a part of our environment. We just don't have the answers for it yet. And that's why I think paranormal stuff is interesting. The research is interesting because they're always investigating it, they're always trying to understand it, and they're always trying to prove it
Right. And I
record
and
of it,
anyone
which
that
is
has a
very,
dog,
it's very difficult. That's just it. Right, it's very
And
difficult to prove. It's very, I could photograph a ghost and someone would say, what, it's just a person in a costume. It is very difficult to prove because what is a ghost supposed to look like? Why are they always transparent? Why are they always transparent in photos? Is that how ghosts look? It's how they look in the movies, but how do they look in real life? And
I
are we
don't think
seeing,
that
and
ghosts
are we
always
seeing a
are
ghost? Are
that
we seeing
way.
a ghost? Or are we seeing an imprint left on the energy field that, where it's not really a ghost, it's not a conscious haunting, it's just like a recording on an energy stamp, an energy recording at our environment. You've heard of those,
But
right? Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
hologram,
so
hologram.
yeah, then you have your conscious spirits that are not limited to a property or a house. They can actually follow you around because they are conscious spirits, and they can go wherever they want, really. And if
I,
they
you
take
know,
a fancy to you, they can latch on to you and follow you.
right. That's why when I get calls that people say, "Oh, my house is haunted. Could you come and clear it?" And I say, "I am
Maybe it's
so
not the house.
sorry.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to even go near your house because I don't,
right,
I'm very sensitive and they can feel that stuff and latch on to
right,
it." But,
right.
what I was going to say is
Yeah,
anytime
don't
I've
go looking
seen
for it.
Anytime I've seen a ghost, it has not been filmy. Anytime
Right.
that I have seen something, it has been full body and it has been as real as if it were you or me. And the last time I saw one was when my neighbor's daughter in law died, and I did not know she died. And
Oh,
I just saw that there were a lot of people across the street, and I thought, maybe it was somebody's birthday or something like that. And I sometimes stay up late if I have a project. You know how you can go into tunnel vision. And
uh-huh.
I was, it was 1:30 in the morning, and I was crossing the street, and the lights were all out across the street, but as I was crossing, a woman came running out and she says, "I feel like a stranger in my own house." And she ran to the truck and she hunkered down and she smoked a cigarette. And I
Uh,
thought, I should I know her and I should talk to her, but then a part of me said, it's not my business. So I
yeah.
didn't. And when I came back out after letting the cats out and stuff, she was gone. Well, then my neighbor calls me then that following week over. She says, "Ann," she says, "I just wanted to tell you that my daughter-in-law died, and I'm so sorry for all the commotion that has been going on." I wanted to say, "Oh my gosh."
Oh
Well,
my,
I
yeah.
saw her and she wasn't happy. She was running from your house and uh, she was very freaked out because she said she felt like a stranger in her own neighborhood. And I
Yeah,
thought, you know what? That would be totally relatable, I would think, if you did
yeah,
not realize, because she
yeah.
died suddenly. She was young, she was only 51, and she died very
Oh dear.
suddenly. So I don't think even she knew, you know what I mean, that I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. She
So
didn't
so for
know.
me,
She
the
didn't. She was
times,
very confused as to what
yes,
was happening. Yeah.
yes, and
Um.
I remember
Yeah.
telling my husband that, and I didn't tell Sue that. I didn't tell my neighbor
Yeah.
that because I thought, no, she would be too freaked out if I told her that, and she'd think I was crazy.
Consciousness is a weird thing. It just our reality is a strange thing. Um. It's not something I'm going to claim to even understand. It's just very odd how there always seems to be. How do I put it? There will always be a you to be a witness to consciousness somehow. There will always be this life force, and I just don't understand how it works really. Um, Without getting into, of course, the religion that I was raised in, which was still Catholic, but I'm not following that. I'm just saying that it's a very it's just odd. It's the consciousness is a very odd thing. I'm not sure if what we're actually seeing is a ghost, or if we're seeing the residue of the last things that you know that person might have been thinking. You
I don't
know.
feel like that she was a
Yeah.
residue. I
Yeah.
think
She
she
was
was
real, huh?
honestly lost.
She was
And
really. She was a conscious
she
spirit.
was real. She was coming to the reality she was dead.
Oh.
And my feeling is that it was hitting her like a ton of bricks that nobody
Yeah.
was paying any attention to her. Even I, when I saw her, it was like, okay, she's having a private moment. I need to go. And now
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't
Yeah.
say anything because what would have happened if I did, you know? Or maybe it would have been comforting. I don't know, but I guess here's the thing that I believe. The more that you are in the spiritual world,
Uh-huh.
the more that you're fine tuning your abilities. And I think there comes a point when you start to let things start to happen without you even controlling them anymore. And I don't think that anything bad has happened to me, but I'm just so aware that everything is smooth, it's not forced. It seems like the things that happen are beginning to be less vaporous and more solid, even in their vaporousness. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
seeing, I'm beginning to connect with them, and who knows, maybe I'm dead.
Well, that's here's a thought. Well, there have been people that have been in a coma, say, for a year or something, and they wake up and they're just horrified because while they were asleep, they had been living a whole other life.
Wow. Mm.
And it was their reality. And when they
Mm,
got
mm,
woken up,
mm.
it was, yeah.
That is
So
something
so
to
this
think
is not
about,
like
isn't
what
it?
if what if I'm in a coma and or what if I'm dead or
Or
what
what
if
if
you're
what if
all
when
in
you
my head.
or what
Everybody's in
if
my head and I'm
or
God. No.
what if when you
Yeah.
die, you just immediately go into, like you say, waking up in a coma?
Yeah.
You have another life that you immediately transcend into. I don't know,
Well,
but
I don't either, but it's pretty strange how sometimes a person could have a very detailed dream. I don't know if you've ever had these where it's
today,
like there's
this
this whole
morning,
other thing going on and this whole other time, and it's very real, it's very involved, and you only remember the last few minutes of it, the last few seconds of it, but you do know it's attached to a whole other story, and even within that dream, you have memories of things from the past that never happened in waking hours. And then I wake up and I think, wow, that was really weird. It was almost like it was somebody's life, you
hmm
know. And now our
hmm
consciousness have merged, you know. Is that is
yes,
that is that what I was dreaming wasn't a dream about me. It was somebody's life, and then they died or something, and now all of a sudden, like it gets downloaded somehow into our subconsciousness as a whole. You know, say
it's
a person
very
is on their
odd.
deathbed and they're dying, and then they die, and then all of a sudden somebody wakes up and says, "Wow, I had a really strange dream. It was so involved. It was like a whole lifetime."
It was like a whole jump bunch of chapters all
Is
at
that,
once. And
huh?
yeah, I was going to say I had one of those this morning. I
Ah.
dreamt that I um, was in a car and my husband was saying, take the car out of reverse. And I'm going, but it's not. I'm flying down the road, but it's in reverse. And I'm suddenly on a 4-lane highway. and I'm in reverse. And ahead and in the back of me
Uh-oh.
are some train tracks. And there's a sign that's flashing on and off, and it's saying, train coming, train coming, train coming. And I remember
Warning.
smashing into the train. And then I remember my body went zoop out of my car, and I was right back into waking up again. And so it was like whatever that was about, but I'm sure there
Well,
was
maybe it wasn't your life or one of your past lives. Maybe it was somebody else's life. I mean, you weren't able. I mean, was your husband? Did he look the same? Did everybody look the same? And did you have a chance to see yourself in any reflective surfaces?
no, no,
No.
no. No,
Okay.
I'm just an image of
Okay.
a body, but I'm not. I just remember smashing into the
Because
train.
there are times where there was one dream in particular where it was a crucial moment in the dream, and I remembered. I thought I was me until I happened to suddenly be aware that I looked across the room and there was a mirror on one side of the room, and I could see everybody. I'm looking for myself, and I can't see myself. And so I raised my hand to my hair to smooth it back, and I see this woman doing the same gesture. And it was like the 1940s or 30s. Everyone looked, and I saw this red-haired or blonde woman doing the same thing too, and I thought, that's me. And I woke up because I was apparently at that moment I was lucid dreaming. I was like becoming conscious and suddenly becoming aware I couldn't see myself because I was looking for me, you know, not, because I wasn't at that
Right.
point, I wasn't as immersed in the dream as I had been. I was beginning to wake up, is what it was. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought, well, now, was this somebody's life I saw, or was it
One of
mine?
your past
Was it?
lives, or
Or maybe it was something. It's like I was saying, consciousness is something that's really a weird sort of thing. Um, I don't think. I don't know if it a past. Um, because I think sometimes we do pick up that somebody else's life. We pick up sometimes when in our subconscious. I
right.
I think as well. In
Yeah,
addition to that, I think it's two different things going on. Is what it is. I'm not saying there's no incarnation that this is what it is. Instead, it's one of those things that could be mistaken for it. You know, but it's just something. I think it's something that we pick up. It's an energy. We pick it electrically because we do have this electricity going on in our brains. I don't see why we couldn't really.
Queen Goddess says all those what ifs are possible if you ask me. And she says dreams,
Cool.
portals,
Yes.
mysteries.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
It is. Well,
Reality. Yeah.
should we give Queen a little bit of a blessing reading or something since she's been so good to be here with us today?
Sure.
And then we can go into our room. We have a couple of people in there watching,
I'm gonna pull one
are
card.
wanting readings. And anybody that wants to come into the video, all you have to do is click on the video and on the right side, type your question. We only ask you to do one thing. Give us a like for your reading. All right.
Well, I drew a card for Queen Mother Goddess, opulence. I drew the Ten of Wands for her, which actually now the Ten of Wands is that it means that your life is it's a lot of work. It's a constant struggle. It's always a work in progress, and like everybody else, you have to work, and life is work. And I do see that there are times when you doubt you have the abilities, or you might doubt your knowledge, but that's only because you might be overextended, and you might possibly be overtired because actually you do a lot and you're just fine. I do see that you have a lot of responsibilities, no doubt, and I am seeing that you're being encouraged here to maybe think outside the box. I hate that phrase, but let's just say be more creative in your problem solving, because some of them can be resolved really easy if you're willing to take a different sort of approach. So maybe brainstorm with some creative people that would seem unlikely, really. If sometimes they have an interesting approach to things that you have not considered. So that's what I'm seeing, that that's the card, that's sort of the vibe you should be considering, and that is the Ten of Wands right side up, which usually means it's a lot of work. Wands and staffs tend to be work. What do you think, Anne Marie?
I'm using the deck Trust Your Vibes,
Oh, cool.
and this is a deck that's put out by Hay House, and it's got very fun, colorful pictures. The first thing I get, Queen says, "Listen to your heart."
Ah.
And so to me, what that means is that if at any time you feel that you are waiting for people to give you, like us at this time, which we certainly don't mean to do, reviews or to tell you how great what you're doing is, screw us. Screw anybody. You follow your heart. The other thing it says is you have a huge amount of gratefulness, Queen. And so you deserve to have people be grateful for you back. And if they aren't, screw them. And the last thing it says is claim your boundaries.
Oh.
So claiming your boundaries to me, Queen, means that if you're going to listen to others' problems, then make sure that they give you back 50%. If you are going to be grateful for those who you love, make sure that they're grateful for you. And if they're not, say that's enough and claim your boundaries. That's what comes through today.
Very nice.
So that's what we have, Queen. I hope you're here. They're still there. And I'm going to go into our room, excuse me, and look at, we have Sandy. I know Sandy loves to talk, so I'm going to put her on hold just a little bit. She's always fascinating. Sarah has been here forever and she's a sweetheart. Hello, can I have a general reading, please? Thank you. Yes, Miss Sarah, you certainly can.
Hi, Sarah. Well, let's see here. Um, oh, I do see it was work, work, work in the past. I do see that you have always managed to juggle things pretty good. Um, you've always stood up for your ideas, and you're not somebody who backs down easy, which is great, and that's symbolized by the Seven of Wands. So that's kind of like how you've always been, or you learn to be that way by experience, and that's good. That's a good thing. But I do see that you got some envious people around you. One in particular that is kind of jealous of all the things you've managed to accomplish with your hard work. And a lot of times when people are envious, it's because they don't even realize that was not handed to you on a silver platter. You had to work for everything. So there's going to be somebody like that. There's somebody like that in your present time. There's a sort of you're being warned, like, not to fight over money and profit, not to get off track of the integrity of what you're doing. It's sort of like, don't, if it's art, stick with the art and don't focus so much on on the gain, on the greed part. Focus on the job or the purpose of why you're in the career you're in. Don't get wrapped up in the money as much. And I do see that actually uh, some meditation, because I am seeing that there's just a lot of some meditation might help at this present time, because I do see that there's it's just you have people in the group that kind of aren't really pulling their weight, and I think you may have to do some weeding. And in fact, this might even be something that you're looking at this time, that you might have set this up so you could see how people are handling, so you could see, who you can best trust. It just seems very business oriented. It does warn of like partnering up with somebody who's not very good at what they're doing. In the long run, I do see that whatever you do to rectify this, I see it paying off. The Eight of Pentacles is in your future, and that's probably about 8 weeks, 8 days. I do see that you're being encouraged to pay attention to details, and if you check all your work for accuracy, um, stay with fly-by-night things and get rich quick doesn't work. So good hard work it does, and with an of your skills, that's a good idea. And if you've been thinking about taking a class, those are the things that are going to help you do well. And that's what I see. I do see that with self-improvement, I do see it working out better than something fly-by-night. So I say that's what we got in store for you. So watch out for those people around you that aren't pulling their weight, and don't let them pull you down with them, okay? What do you say, Anne Marie?
Um, okay, I'm sorry. I've been chatting on the video.
Oh,
I'll
you
let you
have.
take over. We've got a couple
Oh,
new
she wants a
people in there,
general reading. Yeah.
and
I
so
picked up a lot of
Sarah,
business for her. Yeah, hers was like really job related for some reason. So maybe you'll see something that I didn't see there.
Miss Sarah, here is what I have for you, and it's going to be a 3 card reading. Um, and the first thing that I pull up on you, my dear, um, if you have been feeling hypersensitive, please realize it's not personal. There may be people that are, for whatever reason, voicing their opinions, and you may be taking it in a way that is way too personal. Try not to do that. Your reading also says that um, if you have been feeling very super hypersensitive, but you're postponing getting a new life story, realize that, and this is reversed, which means that getting a new life story has been postponed. What's telling me is that you're hypersensitive. Your environment is kind of causing you to feel a little in anxiety. And yet, either maybe because of COVID or maybe because of other things, you're just not allowing yourself to think about moving on at this time because of the unknowns. So it encourages you to do one thing, and that would be to play more. You need to try to lighten up, because if you don't lighten up, what's going to happen is that it's going to get worse and worse. You're going to get more and more sensitive. You need to let this all roll off your back like water on a duck. Because right now, because of the unknowns, you may feel it's not a good time to find a new job, or you may feel it's just too hard for you to even think about the struggle of finding something else. I think what it's just saying is try not to be too sensitive. Try to let things roll off your back and kind of take an attitude of, whatever, and lighten up. And that's what I'm shown. are the three most important ingredients for happiness for you in the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, I'm going to do a real
We have
quick one
Shay. This Shay wants to know
if she's
something
going to get
pregnancy.
pregnant.
Okay.
And she made an appointment for
Oh,
fertility, it looks like, or
okay.
something.
Wow.
Oh, okay, she does take a pregnancy test at Walmart. Okay, so I've got to read all this. I was wondering if I'm pregnant, and if I
I'm
am,
gonna
what
pull
would
a
be the
card.
outcome? Um,
I pulled a card as for what basically would be the general mood I'm predicting here of this time. I do see that you are to be preoccupied by the Ace of Cups. That's what I drew for you. Now, I cannot answer whether I cannot read on your pregnancy. I just pulled a card with the thought in my mind of what is the thing that Shay needs to think about and what is the card that she should consider. And that's what I thought when I drew this card. And the Ace of Cups means that it means that these are intense relationships in your life, could be friendships of your family. I do see a beginning of good love. So perhaps, like at the beginning of a great relationship or a partnership. I do see that as represented by the Ace of Cups. So you're being encouraged to let your guard down, so that, in regards to this other person, so that so that you could meet your soulmate. But I do see that at this point in your life, you are more susceptible to meeting your soulmate at around this time. So, or you have already got your soulmate. That's what I'm seeing. So, it's a nice card. It's a loving card. My cup runneth over. That's what it looks like. It's a cup, a chalice that's just overflowing with good things and love. That's what I see. I cannot answer anything about the pregnant. This is not about that. This is about you and your life. I see it as being a very happy time for you, and also surrounded by loving friends and lots of love and family. So, what do you think, Anne Marie?
Shay, what I show is that um, it's asking you, have you really cleared the past? And by that it means when you try to have a child, are you realistically and logically thinking about whether having this child is proof to someone else that you've moved on, or whether it's just proof to yourself that you are completely 100% into leaving the past behind you and and making a new life story with this child. I'm shown that for the longest time, either you had a hard time, it was reversed, deciding whether you even wanted to be pregnant. And maybe because you were having some doubts, the child that you are to carry in the future decided to postpone having you as their vessel. And so here's what's coming up now. Make a note of what you are feeling and experiencing in your life now, who you love, who you want in your life, and what your priorities are, and make sure the past has nothing to do with this child. The other thing it says is sleep on it. Now, that's a weird card to have
I
on. But if you
like
really
that.
want this child, perhaps you need to just realize that when the angels and God and all of the beings of the universe decide that you are ready for a child, you will have it. So if it doesn't come in a timely manner, sleep on it, it'll come around. And lastly, it says, call on your healer guides, which would be your doctor, who could probably help you with this pregnancy. But do understand that if this pregnancy has anything to do with a past person that you're trying to heal from or resolve something with, make sure that the child is not being used as a pawn or catalyst to try to feel better because of someone that hurt you in the past. Make sure that the child will be enjoyed by you, whoever's in your life now, and make no doubts about it that this child is going to take its time to be born to you until you are completely at ease, issue free, and ready to have, and I want to say him. I don't know why him comes up. So yes, Shay, I believe you're going to have a child. I think you're on the right track, but I think that you are going to need a doctor's help. All right.
There you go.
So that's what we have, Shay, and we're sticking to it.
There you
Okay,
go.
we need, Catlin, we need to go back to the room, and I'll come right back. We will come right back to you, Catlin. Um,
Caitlin.
or Caitlin, sorry. Caitlin, um, we are going to come back to you, Caitlin. Dave wants to know, the company I work for, there are rumors that they will be moving to another town. What's going to happen to me? Not sure if I'll be asked to move with them.
Well, the card I drew, the one that you should be thinking about, the one that you need to consider at this time, we have here the Three of Cups at the present day. And I do see, oh, let's see here. Basically, it may be time to move on. I do see that you're being encouraged to get those resumes out there and to start looking for other opportunities to have a backup while while this is going on, and because the cards say that seeing that it is a good time for, and also probably a necessity for you to possibly start to look for another job. It's not a bad thing to do. Check your options. It's a good time to start getting your resume together and make sure you have your references in order. That's a time, something that everyone should be doing at this time if you have a job and or if you're looking for a job, is to always have that up to date. You don't want to be scrambling at the last minute for that. I am seeing that that is something that you might want to do. At this time, I'm seeing that there are some misunderstandings involving miscommunications and misunderstandings around the current situation. So that's why the card also suggests that maybe it's time for you to start looking at what your other options are and don't put all your hopes into this one place. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. And that's the Three of Cups, and it landed upside down, you see. And that means that you might be losing two cups, but you're going to probably have one you're going to have something left in one of them. You know, there's going to be a downgrade, and then, but that's sometimes you have to do that just to stay afloat. You know, there's always a starting over point where it's a little tougher in the beginning. But I do see that that is something that you might have to do in this particular situation. Anne Marie, what do you think?
Woo woo, it's wonderful, it says.
Oh, wow.
You are going to move on from this job, and it's going to be the
Oh,
best darn move that you could make for yourself.
good.
Because no job should offer you insecurity and the feeling of anxiety. Make a note of how are you feeling in your gut. When you ask yourself, and please remember, one of the things that we have to remember is angels communicate with us through our emotions oftentimes. For instance, when you ask yourself, am I going to be able to stay and move with them? How do you feel? Are you feeling a sense of champagne bubbles and excitement? That's probably your gut saying yes, you will be moving with them. Or are you feeling tired and heavy in your feet? That would be your angel guide saying, nope, ain't going to happen. Start looking, buddy. Your reading says that probably you have come to the point, and this is time for crayons, which means creativity. It's upside down, which means you've come about as far creatively with this company as you're going to. And my feeling is that if you're expecting them to give you instant feedback about how wonderful you are, this card was upside down. And I feel that you will not be getting that praise that you so crave. Lastly, it says, when you look for a job, expect the best. I believe that you are going to find that your job is ending because your guides are directing you that way. And it's time for you to reach out and have something that you can wake up and excites you again. So, honey, I'm going to say, start looking. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, we have
Okay,
Caitlin.
Caitlin needs to
Yep.
have her reading, and then we'll go and end our reading with Sandy. Okay, so Caitlin wants a general, and if you will,
Yeah.
Mr.
Well,
Joseph.
Caitlin, I drew the Nine of Wands for Caitlin, and she's being encouraged to be on the defensive. You're dealing with people who are going to be picky, and it's something that you already kind of know about them. And so don't expect, if they've always been offensive or someone that is picky, critical, let's see. Um, I would say expect them not to be any different than they usually are. I do see this is the sort of it's a time when you are probably you've had some obstacles to deal with that just have just wore you out. I do see that you are someone who has an inner strength, and I do see that you are going to be just fine because you persevere. So these are just at this present time you're being encouraged, don't worry, just deal with it. Do you do what you can, and you know what, you're going to be fine because this is the kind of person you are, and you will make it work just great. What do you think, Anne Marie?
Caitlin, your reading is telling me it's important that you clear the past. Anybody that you have on your mind concerning your past that has done you wrong or hurt you in any way, you need to let that go. Your reading says this is the woohoo card. It's wonderful, but it's upside down, Caitlin. So it says, if you feel that you're just kind of feeling washed out, tired, and not feeling a lot of excitement about someone or something from your past, number one, it's okay if you let someone go that is not doing it for you. Number two, if you've had some tough times in the past due to COVID or whatever else, let it go because I feel that you are ready for a change. And number three, baby girl, it's a team effort. Allow into your life whoever, whatever that gives you a return. If you're the one doing all the work and you're the one that's primarily keeping things afloat and you're not getting the help and the teamwork back, then you need to think about letting go of that dynamic, whatever it is, Caitlin, whether it's a relationship, a job, I don't know. It has to be a team effort to make it worth it. And that's what I have.
Cool.
All right. That's what we have, Caitlin. And thank you so much, everybody in the video room, for being a part of our day. We're going to end the show with Miss Sandy. Miss Sandy is always somebody that is very inspirational. So, Miss Sandy, how are you today?
Hi,
Hi,
I
Miss
wanted to
Sandy.
wish you both the best and everything. And I was listening to you about that dream, and I was thinking, could you be feeling that because of things that are happening, it's keeping you from keeping to that forward motion that you had going, and you feel like you're losing control, so you're going backwards. So could
Yeah,
that
I
be what
thought
that
about
is?
that too. I definitely thought about the psychological parts of it.
Aha, the dream symbols, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like
Yep.
you just feel like you were going in a forward motion. It was the way you wanted. Suddenly,
No,
all
I
this
was
is
going
happening.
backwards. I was going backwards.
No. I meant in your life was going the way you wanted. Suddenly, all this happened, and now in your dream is telling you that the anxiety you're holding over it is in your mind, making you feel like you're going backwards, not forward. Like it's
Yeah.
giving you anxiety.
All
So
I
So
that's
know
did
that's
you
is,
what
have
I
a
thought, and then.
setback, Anne Marie?
huh?
Did you have
Did
a
I what?
setback recently
I may
during that
have it.
time?
I had just had a fight with my husband because all
Ooh.
of the plumbing in our house has gone wrong in both houses at once. And he was upset and he doesn't know how to take pressure. And so I think part of it was that. And part of it was just the realism of ever since I was a little girl, I've been deathly afraid to drive. And I've
Oh.
always felt this sense that being behind the wheel and not being able to control the car. And that I haven't had one of those readings, one of those dreams in a long time of
Ah.
not being able to control the car. So I feel like it could be definitely the message, as you said, about being a setback. But I also feel it could be something that I've had happen to me before, because
Uh-oh.
I have a
Identity.
I have a deathly death feeling when I drive.
Really? I
Yeah,
don't
well,
enjoy it
when
either,
you read
really.
about the
There
yeah,
are
well,
certain
when you
places I will not drive on the expressway. I won't do
yeah,
it.
but
Mm,
she's talking about an
Um,
actual
yeah.
fear. I mean, fear of being in there and always driving, not just I'm driving here and I'm afraid. She's talking about the car in general. And you hear about these kids who have these, they remember their life experiences. I think we spoke of
Yeah.
them about that last time. That's very interesting because that could be a carryover. They've done so many
Sure.
things with people, and some guy was so afraid of water he couldn't take a shower or something. Come to find out,
hmm
under hypnosis,
Oh boy.
he was on the
Well,
Titanic
that
or
would
something
create
when it
social
went down.
distancing, wouldn't it?
Even
Yeah, social
dogs,
distancing is fun.
even dogs, I notice have phobias, and
Yes.
I like my dog. Um, I have a Saint Bernard Pyrenees that is constantly walking down the street, and then all of a sudden he'll act like something is attacking him from the side when he goes
Oh,
by certain houses.
huh.
And
Oh,
I
gee.
think that he's energetically tuned in to where there's negative, maybe fights or divorces or things going on in houses that have volatile. But he also did that with a house with a recent death. He was walking and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden leaped in the air as if he felt charged from the side. So I
Wow.
think it happens with dogs too.
That's
See, I think
interesting.
what it is us humans, we have moved away from that. We all have that. We're all intuitive. We all have that. We all can do that. But we've moved away from it. We've started relying on what the higher ups tell us. We started believing a lot of different lies. We moved away from the truth of how connected we are to things and things around us. And there's so much now going. What is that? That Joe Dispenza? He's Bruce Lipton's friend. They're doing all kinds of it. They can prove all kinds of things when it comes to vibrations that we let out, all
Hmm.
that stuff. I mean, it really is amazing what we have given up. When you have a talent. I mean, is that talent something you had from a past life? passed down to you from something remembered? Or was it something that a relative had, so this gene is in the gene pool, and you happen to be the one in all these different ones that happen to get that one gene, and now, bam, you have your particular talent. It is quite amazing.
It is.
And then,
I
of
mean,
course, if I don't
either one of you
reproduce,
have
then
brothers or sisters that
it
do it?
goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do either one of you come from families that have people who are seers or more intuitive than the common person?
I think, but also I think accidents can cause it, don't you think, Sandy? Sometimes
Yeah.
a bash in the head or a terrible accident can wake up
Or
certain
something with
parts.
electricity, actually. Sometimes an accident with electricity might actually cause changes in a person's
Yeah.
psyche.
You
Yeah,
always hear about people that die, then come back, and suddenly they have all these abilities and they never had before.
yeah.
Oh, well,
Yes,
there's
there
our
was
music,
one real
guys.
famous
Hate
Oh,
to
one.
say it. Our
bye-bye.
music just
Oh,
started, so we
Thanks.
have to go.
Bye,
well,
Sandy,
Sandy.
we
best to
always
both
love
of you. Best
your
to both of
opinions.
you.
You're an awesome lady.
Thanks.
Well, best to both of you. Stay healthy and get yourself some silver, liquid silver. Put it in a spray bottle and spray the inside and the outside of your mask and spray your face. It
I
kills
will
on
do that.
contact.
All right.
Okay, guys. Bye-bye. Stay
Terrific.
safe.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Electronics Association and its members